from doing our opening in Denver. So we're a little ahead of Vermont. It's a 50% occupancy, or a max of 50 is what we were working with. Same issues with outdoor dining. They're trying to expand, get creative, but again, backlog of red tape. And so I want to start with the same message that I've said all along, and that is we as restaurateurs are charged with the responsibility of creating a safe environment. Everyone's concept is different, your music is different, your menu is different. We are in the exact same responsibility of creating a safe environment for our guests and for our employees. And either you're going to nail that or you're not. And the importance is paramount. So I've already started to read some online reviews of I've heard, stuff as it's a shit show in there. I've heard, it's a free for all. It felt crazy, as examples of the worst case. And so what I urge you all is don't open unless you're ready, unless you've got your protocols, your staff on board, your systems that allow your staff as well as your guests to come into your facility and have a feeling of I'm safe here. I feel good about what I'm seeing, signage, distance between tables, how other guests are acting, how employees are acting. It's of galactic importance right now, and we're all charged with that responsibility to create that. The other thing, and this is a tricky one because I don't want to sit here and advocate for rule breaking, but in our case, 2 examples. There's no bar seating. The reason there's no bar seating is because there's food or liquor production that's too close to guests. Okay, well, our bar in particular has 4 stools at the very, very far end that are like 15 feet away from production because all of our drink and food production is at the other end of the bar. So we spaced it. We have our closed signs, but we did end up opening 4 seats at the far end of the bar for dining. Breaking the rules, sort of. Are we being safe? Yes, we are. And so we said we're going to do that. The point is that the reality is your guest's feeling of safety is far more important than regulators and inspectors coming into your establishment and saying, well, you didn't do this rule exactly right. The way we felt was that the likelihood of even being inspected right now is low. But the ramifications of providing or unveiling an unsafe environment to your guests is super high. And we're taking that into account as our top priority. So the second thing is we have a wide sidewalk in front of our restaurant. We've never had outdoor seating. We just never did it in the 14 years we've been open. But we went ahead and put 4 tables out there without having our final. We did submit our inspections to the city, etc. There was a huge backlog of everyone's kind of up in arms of I haven't heard anything and it's been in for weeks, and we went ahead and opened with 4 tables outside. We're doing it responsibly. We have a barrier. We have a no alcohol beyond this point sign. We have all of the rules that will be enforced upon us. We just don't have the permit yet. Now again, I'm not advocating that you do that if you don't feel comfortable, but the way we look at it is this is not to enhance our business. This is not to put an extra 4 or 5% profit to the bottom line. This is survival. And to be operating at a reduced rate, I needed those tables. I have to be able to pay my bills. And I'm sure you guys are all thinking the same thing. Those are the things that we justified. Again, I don't want to ruffle Meg in facilitating this, that I'm advocating for breaking rules. I'm not. But we felt like it was a good decision for us to do that. I might, offer to if it felt good to y'all, to come out and just be a second set of eyes, if that felt like it was valuable, to go back to what my whole point has been all along, is creating an energy and a feeling of safety. And you only have a split second sometimes. As soon as a guest walks up, I'm nervous. I don't know what to expect here. Does it feel safe for me to dine here? And I would be happy to come out and maybe do a walkthrough, just a second set of eyes, maybe, if you felt like that was something you wanted. As some of you that have opened probably felt, and I'd love to hear back from some of you, you've got concerned guests, and then you've got cavalier guests that like, I'm not wearing a mask. What are you talking about? And we said, hey, we're following these guidelines. We've got masks at the host desk. If you'd like one, they're $2, and we bought a pack, of those medical type blue masks, and there weren't many, but there were a few people that forgot, or like, oh, you need that? I'm like, you do need it. So you need it in between, your dining. If you're not dining, you need to have your mask. So we had it at the host desk, and the guests that were feeling a little cavalier or genuinely forgot them, were happy to take one, and we just put a $2 charge on their bill. Anyone else have input so far as to how guests, I'm assuming a lot of your guests are out of town, and I was a little surprised at the city, the folks in Denver were a little more relaxed than I felt, the greater Brattleboro folks were. So, I was navigating that energetic difference. So, anyone have any stories to share on that? On that front?
I'm finding everybody is relaxed coming into our place.
Yeah.
Like, no one's concerned about masks or gloves. Everybody's separating themselves. So we have picnic tables that are all separated, but we also have Adirondack chairs. People are grabbing the Adirondacks, putting them wherever they want, away from other people. And we haven't had anybody speak to us about any safety concerns at all yet. I'm finding that everybody's just damn happy to be outside and enjoying being around other people.
No doubt.
So I think we're not going to do anything indoors yet, because we're staying plenty busy outside, and we feel we have one group coming in at a time to grab their drinks, and we just feel like if we have people inside at tables, it's just going to cause too much clutter at this point. So we're just going to stay with the outdoors.
Right on.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share?
Hi. So we haven't had anyone that's been like, oh my God, I think anybody who is out and wants to eat, they're relaxed. They're not, like, oh my goodness, I have to. If you are scared, you're not going to go out. I have friends here in Connecticut that it's 3 months down the road, and they are just coming out to go to the drugstore like now. So I think that, and a lot of the people that we have had coming through are from mostly, like, a lot from Vermont, people just traveling, saying we just had to get out for a drive. So we have a lot of people like that, and we are known for our bathroom. People have been coming in, and on the most part, they do go and purchase something, but there are people that just sneak in the side, go to the bathroom and leave, which, it's human nature. I mean, we understand. So, but it does, pose a problem for us because at this point, we haven't had to have more than one or two people in the store to run the business. Now we have to increase it probably for another person or two, just to make sure that the sanitary inside is taken care of. All the doorknobs and the bathrooms, whatnot. But anybody who's been coming through, I mean, they're mindful of the masks. Some people will wear the masks on their chin, and the minute that they enter, they'll flip it on, which is fine. Inside the store, I was working in the retail area, and I was not wearing my mask because there was, we still didn't have it open. And anytime somebody did come in, I'd pop it on just because that's what you're supposed to do. But no, everybody is pretty relaxed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. Anyone who is coming out to eat, they've thought about it. They're accepting some level of, hey, I'm going to engage in the public here. I'm going to be dining out. There is some risk involved, and so I think you're right. But nonetheless, what I noticed as well with me and my staff was, after 3 days of being open, we were a little more relaxed and starting to kind of, I could feel a sense of, we're fine. And I had to remind them at pre-ship meeting that, hey, we still have to be diligent about hitting that sanitizer, after clearing a table, or, keep, when you're greeting a table, reminding yourself to give them a little bit of space. Don't be, leaning in and leaning on the furniture. Just having that sense of we're still honoring the fact that this is our reality right now, and we need to continue to present ourselves in a safe way. So we also have we have timers for the dishwasher to come out and sanitize the bathroom. We've got a double cleaning procedure on every table and chair. We do the regular quat sanitizer, and then we do a disinfectant spray that we got through our Ecolab. And so we like those things in the guest eye is really important and valuable. Anyone else have any stories from the last week?
I guess we're looking to open on Friday. We've always been open throughout the COVID, but I think something that backs up the entire process is seminal to success is your actual staff's comfort. So we've been doing weekly conference calls and preparing, because not everyone's built the same, not everyone's wired the same. So for me, I felt it very necessary to invest in communication early and often. And I would like to mention on a sidebar, I do have the pleasure of an intern from Penn State in the hospitality program. He is on the call. And perhaps we could all have a discussion. May not have time today, but I'd love to impart at least the initial experience that we've had. He's been a tremendous help and quite a blessing and timely for this whole thing.
Oh, amazing.
So that might be something we can have another little chat about. But I'm so thankful that I was thinking about them, even though I always do. If you don't say it, you don't express it, and you don't. And I think that's going to be the biggest level of success before the first person even walks in. And I couldn't echo more. Not that you do things falsely, but perception is reality. And if you don't have someone perceiving that you're on your game with what you're offering in your establishment, people will sniff it out. So I'm in a line with that. I would also like to mention I found a contact in Miami who has tabletop dispensers. They're super cool. They're auto, so we're going to have one of those on every table, so that we can, because whenever you do the pump thing, then you've got a contact point. So we're going to have those auto ones as well as the wall ones throughout the establishment. So just wanted to share that.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be great. I'm sure everyone would love to, I know we were searching out different vehicles of sanitation and who's doing what. And to share that, I'm sure everyone would like to consider that. We did two other things as well. We have a huge beautiful raggedy brick wall. It's kind of a focal point of the dining room, and have never hung anything on it. Just kind of let the kind of rough brick wall just be the decor. And we bought it ended up being really expensive. Actually, it was a huge chalkboard that we bought that was pre-framed and all that. And we put our whole menu up in the dining room. And then we switched to the only one thing on the table is a pop-up with our logo and a QR code for our entire menu. And we got a great response from guests. And we're a little bit more of a fine dining type of atmosphere. We're not, and our clientele tends to be a little bit on the older side. And we only had a couple of older folks that didn't know what a QR code was or how to do it. But most guests were thrilled at those changes. So yeah, thinking of how to do that between either a sanitizer spot or menus. We went to a salt and pepper grinder, and so no salt, pepper on the tables. Servers are doing salt and pepper grinders on request. So thinking of all those points is again just confirming to the guests that you've thought things through, and there's nothing that they're gonna run into that was overlooked. Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted Isabel, who's on this call, was my hero this week because she taught me like this super simple hack to make a QR code that's like genius. If you can do it on, Avery, your friendly label making site, you can generate a barcode, or a QR code through the Avery site, and then print it out. And so, you just select what size you kind of want to print it. And then I even took a screenshot of the QR code that it made, and it worked off my screen to go to Wilmington Works website, because we're looking at creating a program where we're going to need a QR code. So this was awesome. You just go to Avery and labels, and you don't even have to buy the labels. You could print it out on a sheet and then, stick it, or you can make a screenshot of it. It's the beauty of interns. I had an intern teach me really how to make a screenshot 3 years ago, and it has saved my life a bazillion times since. So just a simple technology hack. If you need to know more, it's really easy. You could even just Google how to make a QR code with an Avery label. It is literally the simplest thing in the world. And then that can take people to a website, straight to your website, or even straight to the menu page. You select where you want it to go, so it can go straight to your menu. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
that's a good point, Meg. We did it where it doesn't go to your website where they've got to click around more. It literally just goes right to the menu link, and they're able to scroll through, drinks first, drinks and wine, cocktails, etc. Then your food menu, and it's pretty slick. It's pretty awesome.
So if anyone needs, tech help with setting up web pages and stuff like that, please do reach out. We are going to have so instead of next week at 9 o'clock, because we're accommodating our retailers as well. So Wednesday at 9, we're actually going to have a web design person come and give us a little webinar on, Wednesday will be the basics of setting up e-commerce. And then Thursday we'll do a follow-up that has more getting your website seen kind of stuff. So it may not be as relevant to restaurants, but if people are looking for some ideas around easily getting stuff set up, please pop in at 9, and we can do this call at 10 if we want, or we can decide. I'll send out an email if people want to continue this conversation informally next week, but formally we will have someone helping us with some web stuff. And it's really for every business, so it's not going to be restaurant specific. It's going to be web design generally, but just some of those tips and hacks and QR codes, things like that we are all learning about. There's some pretty easy ways to make it work. So.
In other news, and some of the best news that I've heard since this started is the PPP adjustment to most notably, instead of 8 weeks, it's 24 weeks And the other thing that's notable is instead of 75% payroll, 25% utilities, it's adjusted down to 60% payroll and 40% utilities. That's paramount for anyone who has some of that loan left or all of it left. And certainly if you haven't done it, I would literally hang up from this phone call right now and apply for PPP. Don't get hung up with any of it. Full steam ahead, get the numbers to your bank and just get the loan immediately. And if anyone wants to talk that through with me separately, again, I'd love to talk to you one-on-one or any of those things, because I think that is a critical piece potentially to coming out of the other end of this thing in good shape.
I'm just looking for, we did get, and I think I sent out on Monday. So if anyone needs it, there was some updated information from Deb Boudreau. So we're hoping to get, we have posted on the Wilmington Works website, we post anytime Deb sends us an updated guidance sheet, I do post it right on the front page of the website. There's a button. And so we'll make sure as soon as she's got the information about the PPP updates really together and ready, we can put it in there. But the good thing about the PPP is you can certainly apply and you don't have to take the money until the second step. So if you feel that that's a good tool for you, you can definitely contact your lender and start the process. And then we should have everything, all the information you need should be ironed out before you would need to get the final approval and take the money. So, it's definitely worth looking into. So we'll have, hopefully Deb will get that. I think I still have her update 701. We're waiting to hear a little more stuff. I think she's hopefully send out another one by the end of the week. And so that's at wilmingtonworksvt.com. It's out there for everyone. It's just wilmingtonworksvt.com. I upload that every week whenever she sends a new one, because why not? And so that's there. And if you have any questions, Gretchen is here. Eric, myself, you can call Deb. I know, Lori, you've been working with Deb, I think, pretty closely. So those are just sources out there. And we really are following this state act. And hopefully that will be in order soon. And I don't know if people saw Deb's note, but if you don't have an online account with the Vermont Department of Taxes, you should get that set up now, because that's how they're going to administer these funds. So you probably do. If you do anything with your taxes online, but you might want to just double check that you're fresh on your login and you know how to get in, because that's how they're going to, for restaurants, administer those grant funds. It'll go through the Vermont Department of Taxes. So it's just will save you a step later to make sure that you're all good with that. Anyone else? So Sean, actually, I have a question for you. How many seats are you able to open inside, and how are you working that? I'm just curious with your space, because you have a lot of seats as a bar, so you have a unique situation. How's that going to work out?
Yes, so that was one of our prep conversations on our call yesterday with the staff. I think I vocalized this the last time. I'm not a proponent of recreating the wheel. We've got tables where they are. We're going to seat according to compliance, but I'm not flipping a table, moving chairs, putting a big hood on something. We're going to try and make it, like Keith was saying, as much of a real experience and manage and mitigate it with our own staff. So our fire code is 87. So we're going to be right at that, kind of hovering in that 25 seat capacity, which isn't going to be a problem. I think our high tops are in play. So we've got 3 high tops right there by the window. So we'll just leave the middle one out. We got 14 bar stools. And again, I still find it very confusing, as consistently inconsistent with what the state's doing. You can sit 2 families together up to 10, but you have to social distance. That makes no sense whatsoever. 6 feet, and again, I'm in the medical profession, 6 feet or a mask. I don't know how you're supposed to wear a mask inside, eat, drink, and make it normal. So I'm kind of on the fence with that. But we're going to be looking at just, if we have an 8-top by the window, then we'll leave the other 4-top open. And then if 2-top comes in, so we're going to kind of do the Tetris game, is what we kind of discussed yesterday. And I think people will appreciate that. So that's kind of that's our strategy. And I don't see too much in that strategy that is going to put a monkey wrench in everything.
Lori, as you guys are looking, are you looking more at outside states, or are you thinking you're going to be able to open inside, or is it not enough volume for you? How are you thinking about the dining room spaces and outdoor? And you'll need to unmute. Sorry. I just mute everybody because it's.
Yeah. Initially, I think we'll focus on the One More Time billiards parlor side, because that's the access to the outside. And we can spread the tables out in the backyard pretty easily. And then, difficulty for us is with the pool tables and how to manage that. So right now, I think we're probably going to just do outside and the bar area of one empty, and distance the tables that are in that space.
And Isabel, I had a question. You said, this is interesting, you said you didn't have a lot of people who wanted to sit inside this week. I mean, I think it's been really nice weather, so that's kind of interesting to see.
The thing that we are having issues with is people lounging on our back deck, with their laptops, which they want, but right now it's not busy, so, we kind of looking the other way. We do have signs up that say, please limit your time for our other guests, but, we haven't had a rush or anything like that. People are still doing a lot of curbside takeaway, but we do have those people that do want to enjoy the side deck and the back deck. We haven't had, I don't believe we had anyone sit in the back at all this week since we opened on Monday. Well, it's only Wednesday, so yeah.
Right. What day is it?
Time has stopped.
Sean, I have a question for you, and maybe Keith, you can talk to this too. Something that I'm sort of worried about, and it's something that I've heard from retailers, is they were like, we were doing really good online business when we were closed, because people were like, oh, we got to go shop online, and they were doing curbside. And then what happened was, as soon as they were allowed to open, and they opened, they didn't have a lot of shoppers. But then also they felt that their online business suddenly, and their pickup business suddenly went down. And so I'm just wondering, I'm feeling like from a marketing point of view, and how important it is if you are going to continue doing takeout, and that's going to continue to be important to stress that. So Keith, you were doing pickup. Are you still doing takeout at the restaurant? And did you find that continued, or did you feel like that went off a cliff once you were open in the dining room because people took that option out of their head?
Yeah, good, great question. So again, our concept is much more of a dining experience. It's a little bit more of a fine dining approach, if you will. I don't really love that term, but we'll use it anyway. Our food we don't design our food to travel well. It generally doesn't travel well. But we did, we had a little bit of a name for the duo fried chicken in the summertime, which we would do on the menu. And that travels well. We got the right packaging with mashed potatoes. We did like a bacon braised kale, some chive cheddar biscuits, and fried chicken. So it was kind of a fried chicken takeout menu is what we did. And it was, just like your retailers, in the middle of this, when no one could go anywhere, I mean, on a Friday and Saturday night, we were doing like $2,000 of takeaway, which was phenomenal. And as an example, now that we're open, we did $500 of takeout on about that on both nights. And so we also changed our POS to do online ordering. And we decided that absolutely from here on out, we would have Tyler, our chef, would come up with a few items that packaged and traveled well and we're going to keep it for the foreseeable future. It's so easy. Online ordering was so easy, and two, that extra $500 in sales was great with a limited dining room. So although it did kind of fall off a cliff, we're doing maybe 25% at best of what we were doing. It was certainly gravy, pun intended, white pepper gravy on top of what we would have done without it. So yeah.
So first and foremost, Keith, you cannot describe food unless you're going to be sending it to us. That sounded amazing dish. So yeah, I look at my dashboard every day after, so I get a full streaming report. Our Fridays and Saturdays were very blessed and extremely busy. So versus 75% off every other day, we were right around maybe 60% off, 50% off. So that I look at, and I think I've mentioned this, I know with Gretchen and Meg, we've been doing a lot of philanthropic stuff. Every month we're picking a charity to help support. And our POS allows us to do these little incentive kickers. So what we're gonna do is probably layer that to augment or incentivize people who maybe still not comfortable coming out. But we are going to be extremely, I won't say aggressive, extremely ready to do, if we have 25 people in the waiting in the area and we're not flipping the tables for another 30, 40, 50 minutes, we can really make that offering to someone that maybe hasn't done takeout with us yet. I think about 75% of our food does travel very, very well outside some of the fish. So that's a good thing, but we're really going to be proactive in supplying hopefully what will be pent up demand and people coming out and being able to kind of manage and mitigate them, but also doing some online incentives. But it's all going to be, I'm going to be looking at week to week to week and be able to compare it with the last 3 months. And I'll know instantly if we're up, down, or sideways. But that's our plan currently. But I really think looking at how you can, again, positioning yourself in the Valley and with partnerships, I think goes a long way. A lot of people have really, we did Brattleboro Hospital the last 3 weeks, and we had all of these messages coming back, thanking us, and we can't wait and come and try the food even more. We looked at your menu online. So I think we're all in a very like-minded trajectory here to collaborate with our fellow human beings. So I think the more you can do that as an establishment, it goes a long way.
So I have a question for Justin. Are you there, Justin?
I'm here. Yeah.
So your setup, you don't have any service. It's just pick up food from the truck, and then beverages, they come in. So you don't have any wait staff?
No. So the first weekend we were open, we were actually running all the food, and then we bought the little buzzers, and we asked people if they're not comfortable taking one. We clean them obviously every chance we get, and everybody's been fine with that. So it's just been picking up from the trailer, but you got to go inside to get drinks. And
And then, so there's no servers, there's no wait staff.
No, just we have our staff going around and grabbing,
Right, cleaning up after
stuff on the table before. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's all been really smooth. We haven't had any issues at all.
And are people still tipping your staff that clean up? Is there gratuity?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing very well.
You're doing well. Okay.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, we've been blown away by how awesome it's been. I mean, obviously we stepped it up with the food now, so people are curious as to what's going on over there.
Right.
This past winter, all we did was pizza, pretzels, and meat and cheese boards. So now we're doing all sorts of creative stuff. So, people are curious. That helps.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So there's this one very popular restaurant, and I know that they just opened one up in Boulder, Bartaco, and there's one in Hartford. There's a bunch of them. So Bartaco, you can't get in there on a Saturday night. It is packed. It's just like like a little tapas taco style, and their drinks are phenomenal. So they went into something called picnic style dining, and I'll post their website, which was quite a change from how they did their business originally, where they were served. So you might just want to like see how they did it, and similar to what Justin is doing, like, and then they're calling it picnic style. So I just posted their website there.
That's something that, you know, we've been talking about, is trying to, you know, how do you do that? So now that there's this, the rule has sort of changed, that if you have counter service, you don't need to do reservations ahead of time. And that may be something that's helpful for people in kind of trying to wrap their head around how to do, maybe just doing a more casual style of dining, you know, if you can, that might be helpful. That's a great, I'm going to go look at picnic style. That looks really great. Yeah, it looks like that's nice. They just sort of have like a bag and it's all ready to go, and see you later. That's great. That's really cool.
That's basically what we do. We wrap everything to go, so people take it if they want to go sit in the back room. They then take it to the back room. We're not using any silverware or any of our dishes or anything.
Mm-hmm. So it's like pre-packed. And you can just walk it back, sit down, and then have staff visibly cleaning.
Or we have garbage cans and people just recycle themselves.
And are you going out and just like wiping down the deck kind of periodically between customers? It's sort of someone just comes out, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the visible. It's like when somebody sees, oh, I'm sitting at this table, and then when I see someone get up and then I see a staff member come out and wipe down that table, I feel really good that the table that I sat down at was cleaned before I sat at it. You know what I mean? I think that's something that Keith is pointing out. It's so, I mean, it's always important in a restaurant, but it's so important now to have it like look and be spotless. Because I know that's how I would feel, like, oh, I'm fine to sit at this table, especially if I see them cleaning other tables. Then I have that good feeling of like my table was clean when I sat down, even though it looked clean. Now I know I have like that reassurance that they're really cleaning. So I think that's so key into that comfort zone, because it really is, even if people are comfortable and they're coming out and they're eating, there's that like deep psychological layer in the back of your, you know, reptile brain that needs to feel like when you went home, like, I'm not going to worry about having been out, you know? So I think that's cool. It's good to see that people are coming out, and I think that as people are safe. Gretchen, did you have something you wanted to add? I just saw you pop
Yeah,
back.
it's interesting. My husband and I just celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary. So we went to Brattleboro, and we were sitting at an establishment, and we were, and they were coming out and they were wiping down tables. But we noted, and actually we heard other people commenting, oh, it's strange that they're not wiping down the chairs, because the chairs had handles, like, or arm rest on them. So just a note of reference that, you know, maybe thinking about, you know, disinfecting the chairs as well.
Yeah, Gretchen, that's a great point. And if I may, it's not a maybe in my mind. You absolutely have to have your staff committed to all those details. That's such a great example, Gretchen. Thank you. Guests are watching, and it sounds small, it seems insignificant, but what we did is we had an all staff meeting, and we talked it through, every single solitary scenario of a guest interaction and what it might look like. And certainly around the cleaning and disinfecting, to reiterate what I said, you know, we're doing our same busing approach with sanitizer bucket with the cloth, but then we've got a, you know, CDC approved disinfectant spray that we're taking a separate procedure, doing the entire table, you know, doing around the edges of the entire table, and then doing the whole backs of the chairs, the bottom of the chairs. And, you know, you could argue it's as much of a show as it is a real cleaning, you know. the likelihood of someone getting it is probably really low. But it gives you that sense of security and safety. And so I look at those small things as critical. You do not want to create a wonderful meal, great food, great ambiance, and have someone upset and walking away. I'm not going back there because they didn't wipe down a chair. Don't do it. Don't do it, you guys. Think about those things. Train your staff. Tell them the importance of it. Remind them every pre-shift, and make sure those little things are done every time.
They were doing the door well, but that was and the tabletops. But yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, like they do have a little bit more time because they're not really serving you. We had to go pick up our dinner. Like they texted us when it was ready, and then so it was a good system, but it was just like that was one of the things that I noted. So
Yeah, you got it. And it was amazing. As much as we thought of, you know, during that first service, our staff was coming back like, you know, what about this? What about that? You know, we didn't have a procedure on how we were presenting it, the check. You know, do we use our regular check? We have these little kind of rusted steel, kind of cool looking check presenters. And we cleaning those every single time. What we decided to do is part of our normal service is this eclectic collection of old teacups and tea saucers. And so we decided to use a teacup saucer with the guest, and then those things just go right to the dish room to be cleaned. And so, you know, we had to modify things as we went, and our service staff knew how important it was, and so they were coming back to us rather than assuming and just doing things. They were like, "Hey, well, wait a minute, Keith, what about this? Because we're touching this, and the guest is touching this. What do we do?" And we were like, "All right, let's come up with a new plan right now." And so, you know, it's just, we felt like it was just so extremely important to have every detail so guests weren't noticing things and going, "Ooh, they didn't wipe down the chair." Ooh, you know, you don't want that.
And I think it's interesting what you say too, because we all know, like I've spent so many years working in restaurants. It's so easy to like forget these things and sort of lapse. And again, as you were saying, the more you're open, the more normal it feels.
Yep.
And so then it's really easy to forget. So I think, and it's nice, we want to forget, like we want to go back to the old. Nobody wants to be dealing with this BS of like, you know, it's difficult, right? We're all very like tired of it. And so I do think like that constant reminders to self and to staff, and you know, the wearing the masks and all that stuff, it is and I think acknowledging that it's uncomfortable is also helpful, to say we're all uncomfortable and like acknowledge it and move on, Buddhist style, you know, like, but to acknowledge that it is uncomfortable, but also that it's really important. And I think I think if you say it to the staff in that way of like, everybody is watching everything, and how would you feel? And have you been out to eat? I love Isabel's got Village Roost branded masks. Who made those for you?
I love it.
I found a company online. So this is like, it's really like, it's great because it's lightweight. It's let's see.
I would just say locally, I think Jess Cronin, I think can probably make that happen for you.
Those are so cool.
Yeah. So they're really, and the staff likes to wear them because they do cover quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're really easy just to like, you know, put down, you know, when you're in the kitchen.
Can you send a link to those? Those look awesome, Isabel.
They're expensive, but you know, but there's a lot of other companies, but I just did this as like an impulse at 2:00 in the morning when I was like, got a coupon for shipping or something. But I do like the way these look. They were like $12.99 each. They're like way too expensive.
Right. They look great though.
Force it out, you know, find something else. But this was just like an impulse buy.
I'm going to check. I can check locally with Jess Cronin, who does a lot of, she does fat printing. And she's right down to, she's in the old school building. So I know she's a very enterprising and entrepreneurial young lady. So if she is not making branded face masks right now, I would be shocked. So it's Cronin. I'm just do Cronin Co. Google her, and she might likely be doing that. So that's something fun to think about having, providing those for your staff and having the logo. Anyway, I would ask her, she's Cracker Jack, so I'm sure I would be surprised if she wasn't doing them locally. She can print your logo on anything. So that's great.
We went with the lighter ones because, again, image and everything. The dark ones look great on our hats and t-shirts, but we went with the whiter ones, so it's less, I'll say, intimidating, because masks were only given to a certain subsect back before this all happened, and now everyone. So I think having that ability to be presentable like that is super awesome.
That's great. Sean, did you order masks for your staff too, or you have logo?
Yeah, we've got we partner with an autism group that 90% of all of their staff is on the spectrum. It's called Spectrum Design. So we portion back for all of our swag that we sell. So I think we get them up for $8. So, and again, I believe in staying local too. We had already put the order in, but actually Cronin, she stopped by the other day to give a donation to the Rotary Club that we did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a nice little fundraiser. So I know some people got some magic little checks in the mail from her t-shirt fundraiser. It was really cool. We got one too, and it was totally unexpected. So it was lovely. All right, well, we're at 11 o'clock. So here's my question for people who are here. We are doing a web design, I don't know, I'm calling it now a Zubinar. It's not really a webinar, but a web design presentation with a lot of Q&A that's going to happen next Wednesday at 9 a.m. for everybody. So everybody is invited to come to that if you want to. Do we want to get this group together again next week, or do we not? And I also wanted to extend to people, if you do want to have Keith, get in touch with Keith to just either talk through your plans, or to ask general questions, or to invite him to come walk through your space. Could you please reach out to me or to Eric from the chamber, and we will get you hooked up with Keith, because he's more than happy to provide that service. And I know a couple people who aren't on this call but have been on some of the calls. We definitely will. And I'll put the word out, Keith, if that's okay with you. And
that's great.
I'll get in touch
Absolutely.
with you, because sometimes it really helps having someone come who maybe has never been in your space before and just look at it from the point of view of a customer, and get that, well, could you do this? And would that work? So we'll share that information with everybody. So just show of hands or whatever, do people want to continue this conversation? I mean, we could do this every week. We don't necessarily need to have Keith here, but we could still continue the conversation. I have sent out invites to most everybody in Wilmington for joining our restaurant group email. I haven't gotten Dover emails, but I'll get those from Eric today and get those out to you, so we can also continue the conversation there online. So what is the thought? Is this worthwhile, having this conversation? Do we want to keep doing it next week? Sean says thumbs up. Isabel, is it worthwhile, helpful?
With risk of jamming this down your throat again, the whole listserv sharing of ideas and having that accessibility to each other, I just feel like if you give it a chance over time, you're going to love it. You're really going to love it.
I feel like even here today, we were able to say, hey, this is a place where we got a hand sanitizer dispenser. That's helpful information to share that. I figured out how to make a QR code from Isabel. Thank you, Isabel. I mean, I'm not even a restaurant owner and I'm learning stuff. So, it's really, I think it is really helpful to have these conversations, and just for us, even who are out in the community working with you guys, to hear what's happening and know and be able to share the things that we're learning out even more, I think is really important. So for me, it's very valuable. But okay, so we'll do it again, I guess, at 10 o'clock next week. Give us a minute, because we might be, maybe I'll disable the waiting room or allow it so that people can join before host on that call. So if we're wrapping up with Julia Wilk, who's the lovely young lady from Montpelier area, who's doing a this web design webinar, but I'll just make it so that people can jump on the call, and we'll see. You can just start and chat, and we can't make a recording till later, but we will carry on.
Do I have time to ask everyone one more question? regarding, is anyone, trying to walk the walk in the balance between having your staff come back and stay on the CARES Act unemployment, reducing their hours, etc.? I'm seeing Sean nodding. Anyone else?
Mm.
Yeah, we've actually done it very surgically, so we know
Yeah.
if it is. They're willing to come back. I just had 2 more staff come back this week. They're comfortable and they're in their wheelhouse. So I'm monitoring. I'm kind of doing a pooled tip system, which helps them out instead of a peak and a trough. I think that's something that is still, I'll call it, within the guardrails. We're not doing anything under or off the table, but it's we're keeping everybody safe. That way I don't have to be in a position where I reported someone that I offered work and they said no. We had our chefs come back, so we're in a positive trajectory. Now it's all mitigating staff volume, because what we needed before, if you're at 25%, so now we got to kind of parse out and keep people happy, but they're not going to have as much income. So we're trying to, again,
Yeah, we did the same thing, Sean. At a reduced capacity, we're able to manage the staff at a reduced rate where they're able to keep their unemployment for the time being anyway. And then we did something similar. We first said, well, we're absolutely going to do a shared tip system in the front, but we decided, because we're allowing everyone, we're managing everyone's hours and income so they can still collect unemployment. We're sharing the gratuities also with back of house, and that felt like the right thing to do, and everyone was on board with that. So,
Isabel, unmute yourself.
I think we're the only ones that followed through with the PPP for the last 8 weeks. We've got another 2 weeks to go. So we have paid people full salary for the 8 weeks. I'm going to be happy to get rid of it, but then I don't know what's going to happen after that. But I'm hoping that we're getting closer to that July 4th period, which opens up the flood dams and tourism in downtown Wilmington, that we'll be able to retain the staff. But we still are. We're going to need a couple of kids, to run tables, whatever. But yeah, so and it was a good thing that we did pull some of our staff off the off of unemployment, because there are other benefits that they were receiving for being single parents, whatever, healthcare, were taken away from them. Because of the $600 protection, whatever. So they were happy to not be on unemployment.
That's interesting. All right, well, we better jump. Hey, Sean, I heard you say you are opening this weekend at the Maple Leaf. This is true?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep,
make sure I include that in my marketing email. And Isabel, that you're open inside and that your retail is open. I'm just trying to collect the new restaurant openings every week. So it's starting to seem that there'll be some little more life in downtown Wilmington this weekend. That'll be nice. It's been kind of a freakish ghost town. So we'll make that note. And Justin, I'll give a shout out up to Dover, that we saw that you guys were open too. It's a short drive, so people can go there and come back. So. But it was nice to see. Actually, really was surprised to see that your full parking lot. It's good to see. So great. Okay, well, we can hope everyone cross fingers for continued good outdoor dining weather. It's been pretty good. This weekend looks okay. I think it didn't, but now it does. So that's good. So. We'll see everyone here next week, and I will, if there's not a host on, don't worry. I'll send Eric over, or Gretchen, or somebody to jump on. But we might be wrapping up our web design webinar, Zoominar. So feel free to jump onto that if you need to. So anyone's input. Thanks, Keith. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, see you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.